If you're anything like me, then you know you're going to like a game within the first hour of playing. That's why I do first hour reviews, and they're the reviews based on the first hour of gameplay. And today, we're looking at Green Hell. What is up, survivors? It's HG Dan, and we are back looking at our first hour review for Green Hell. Now, I do have a slight confession. This isn't my first hour. So normally what we do is I will review a game on my first hour of gameplay. I'll play it through for an hour, and then we'll come back and I'll make up some notes, and we'll look at those main areas that I look at when doing reviews, which is graphics, mechanics, pick up and play, and replayability. And also, am I going to play this game past the first hour? Now, normally what I do, I'll review that game, I'll play it for an hour, make the notes, review the game, playing it back while we're going through all of these things. Now, my confession is this. I have already played Green Hell. Now, I did stream it back when it was early access, and it is something that I've played before quite a lot. However, that was a year and a half ago, and it's now got a lot more stuff in, so I thought I would do it a little bit more justice, considering my niche I've now discovered is the survival crafting niche, and you guys are my audience. So now that we've got that, let's look at Green Hell. Now, Green Hell, I love this game. If you want a quick review, get this game, go get it. It's one of the best survival crafting games out there at the moment. 2020. Now, if that is something, if you like your survival crafting games, get this bad boy, put it in your wish list, and pick it up in a sale. If you can't afford the full price, I would pay full price for this. This is a great game. Go and get it. What I will say is, if you want to listen to why I think it's one of the best games, then stick around and we'll go through it. So let's start with graphics. Say, moving in the bushes over there. So graphics, here we have literally, I mean, look, this is the moon. This is like moon rays coming down through the canopy of these trees. Look at how stunning this is. We've got the shade over there. Look at, I love this game. Now, it is raining, so that's always good, because one of our things that we need to keep an eye on is our hydration. Now, what we've got here is what I created in the first hour. Now, you might not get as far as this, you may get as far as this, doesn't matter. But graphically, look at this game. We are, I wonder if we can sleep, and then hopefully we'll be able to get it into daylight as well. But this is the night time, so you got the night time there. Look how amazing everything looks. It's wet as well. You get that feel that it's wet, with the rain coming down. You got the puddles on the mud, and now you can see that it's sort of it's dry. It's crazy, wet and dry. There's a clear difference on the ground. When it's raining, you know it's raining. When it's dry, you know it's dry. Look at this. We're now looking at sort of like, I think that's possibly still the moon, but you've got that difference. It's now sort of like coming daylight again. You've got that mist coming through the tree tops and the canopy, and you've got the I mean, just look at the rocks. You've got the rocks, you've got the leaves, you've got creatures, you've got water. Let's see if we can go find some water. Hopefully I don't run into any rattlesnakes or anything on the way. But you've got the different water. We've got this is possibly, I thought there was something coming to kill me. This is possibly one of the best games. Look at this. It's alright, chill out, I'm not going to hurt you. Look at the water. Even the water's stunning. The sunlight, the trees, the mud. I mean, okay, graphically, this poor bugger's trapped in. In fact, I need to. We're just gonna. I mean, that was a happy accident, because I think we need protein. But we'll get onto the watch and mechanics and stuff in a minute, which is what you'll see. Why I need protein. So that's our backpack. Backpack is full. We'll get into that. So graphically, this game is like a 10 out of 10 for me. There's not many other games out there at the moment that I feel this way towards in terms of sort of like you know, like graphics. That I mean, there is, you know, don't get me wrong. There's loads of great games out there graphically, but I mean, this is just, for me, this is possibly one of my favourites. I just love the environment. I love the graphics. I like the lighting. I like the sound. You know, everything about this game. Okay, moving on. I think I'm labouring the point. So let's look at mechanics. So as I touched on just now, this game has a watch. Now you can see here I'm close to dying. That's because my protein is gone. My carbohydrates are low, which is the red and yellow, and my fats are alright because I keep finding nuts, and my hydration is also very low. Now, you know, that's just there's your directions as well. You should use that quite regularly. There's your time and such. Now I've lost our little camp, which is fantastic, which is why you should probably always be aware of what direction you're running in and such. So mechanic wise, when it comes to sort of like the watch, there's obviously other games out there that depends on some sort of like keeping your health, food, hydration, sun, for example, if you've been watching me play Stranded Deep. But this takes it to a new level with the watch. I mean, look at this. You've got carbohydrates, fats, protein and hydration that you need to look after. Now, different things fulfill those needs. Like nuts will fulfill your fats. You've got bananas and other fruits that will help with your carbohydrates, and meats will do your protein. Obviously, water is water. But all of these things will help keep you alive, and you have to sort of like the emphasis is to keep a balanced diet. Now you can, it's easy to do once you know what you're looking for and you've been playing the game for a little while. You've got an idea of what's what, where to find these things. Then you know that's something that's quite easy to. Oh, whatever, mate. I've just been bitten by a snake. So we're probably going to. Oh, I've just run over a thing. We're dead. We're just straight up dead. So there you go. So, you know, even me, I'm dying in videos that I'm trying to sort of like help, you know, show you around in. And that was easy difficulty as well. But anyway, so that's the sort of like, you've got, that's your watch. We're back here again now, which is fine. So there's your watch. And it's just, I just like the way that they've gone in at that little bit further with your food. You have to manage different things in your food. It's just an extra sort of like level of that survival aspect. So that's your watch. Now crafting. Let's move on to crafting. So crafting is another thing where we've actually got some stuff in here. Crafting is another thing that I love in this game. So when you start, you start off with your notepad. Now this is your notepad here. As you sort of like travel around, you might stumble across a camp, an abandoned camp, which has got some stuff in that you might not have in your notepad. In which case you learn those things. So there might be a way that you can collect water. We haven't got any entries right now because I've only just started this, you know, I've only been playing for an hour. But we haven't got any entries in here. But there are camps in this map that will have a water collector of some sort. And then once you find that, it goes into your notepad so that you can craft it yourself. So if you did want to craft something, all you need to do is literally find something that you want to craft. You would place it down. Let's craft something else. You would place it down like, let's pick something like the oh, I want this, sorry everyone. Right, so you know, something like this. So you've got There you go. And then it sort of tells you what you need. So you place your blueprint down, and then you would go out and collect 4 logs, so 0, 4. And then what you would do is you would collect your 4 long sticks, and then you'd collect your rope that you would need to just go around each of those. Now all of these things, obviously you can chop down trees to get your logs and your long sticks, and then there's sort of like vines that you would use for your rope. The crafting and stuff like that for the big structures is really cool. That's one aspect of your crafting. Your other aspect of your crafting is stuff like tools. Now in this, for example, what you will have is you maybe have like craft. So here you can see we've just picked a stick. Now from this stick you have these you have these like 6 circles. Now these 6 circles tell you that these are sort of like extra things that you would add to this one stick to create something new. So let's add a rope. So we've got a weak torch. Now I don't believe we have a weak torch yet, but we can then maybe add in another rope. Okay, so we've got something else there. So what if we add a small stick? Those circles are gone. Right, okay, let's take the small stick out. Should we add another stick? Tribal fire starter. Okay, so what happens if we add a stone? Okay, no, not stone. So you can just sort of like discover things like this. You can discover stuff just by going through and just adding in these extra bits, whatever it might be. You know, I don't know, I'm just sort of like messing around. I'm just keep going through until I find something that's, you know, finishes it off. So I've got no idea what this is actually, but you know, it's just an example of how the crafting works. You're not necessarily restricted by what you found. You can accidentally just stumble across things, and you know, in that respect, and once you there you go, there's an axe. I've not created an axe yet, not a proper axe. I've got one of those little stone hatchet things. There you go, look at that. I hadn't discovered this, and because you've now learnt it, you can pull it in your own notebook. So I love how they've done their crafting. I love how it's sort of like, it's not necessarily restricted by stuff you can do, or what you've got in your notepad. You can accidentally just stumble across, you know, arrows. Okay, I haven't even got a bow, so you know, that's a good one. But you can just stumble across sort of like things like that. If there's something that you want in particular, you know, I need a pickaxe. Okay, so what do we need for a pickaxe? Probably, let's add in, we probably want some stone. There we go, there's a stone blade. Well, let's put a stick in that as well. Maybe a rope just to bind it all together. Oh, that's our thing. I don't know, but you get the idea. You can add sort of like stuff together.
Thirsty.
Okay, so yes, I know. Let's just drink that. That might keep us going for a little bit. So what is next? So there's another mechanic that I love in Green Hell. This is the inspection. So as you can see, you've got this person. Now this will divide your body up into obviously whatever it is corresponding. Now it may be that sometimes you get like a bite, in which case your bite will show on this leg, or you know, it might not be this leg, it might be this leg, or whatever it is. You'll get a magnifying glass down in this bottom left corner, and when you do, you can just sort of like have a look to see what it is. Once you've identified what it is, you can come to your notebook and then sort of like say, okay, well, I've got there you go, so the leeches there, that's what the leeches will look like. You just pull those off. Venom wound. Okay, so how do I treat the venom wound? It's all in here. You eventually learn these things, but you can sort of like get venom wounds, you can get rashes, parasites, worms. You know, you just get a bone needle and remove it, but it reduces the sanity. So sanity is another mechanic which, if you eat like human flesh, or you know, snails, or you know, stuff that's just not very nice, it affects your insanity. As your insanity increases, you start to hear voices and such, and then it's just not a very nice experience, as you can probably imagine. So I'm just going to eat some food here. just to sort of like play with the lighting and just show you like the crafting and how the normal stuff sort of like works. This is like your standard, you know, bread and butter when it comes to doing stuff like this. So we're just going to eat some of that, we're going to eat some of that, and that's going to then give us some more fats and some more carbohydrates. Now again, fires, well, this is smoke sending up into the air. That can attract people, that can attract natives, and then they want to hurt you and kill you, and it's not very nice. So that's just something to be aware of as well if you do start playing this game. But going on to sort of like the palm leaves, look, they're dried leaves. This is just, I just love this game. Sorry. So that is our so that's crafting, that's the watch, inspecting. They're your sort of like main elements for make this really stand out to me. You know, your other sort of like mechanics are pretty standard. You know, your combat is a pretty much standard. You know, you can throw spears, or there you go, as if to prove the point. Throw spears, attacking, chopping down trees. That's all pretty standard stuff. Cooking meat, it's all pretty. You know, that's not anything sort of like new. You know, the health is determined by various factors, so your food, drink, whether you've just been bitten by a snake and then run into the bloody mound of ants, which is what happened to me just now. I just died straight out. Also, the possibly the only other mechanic is the stamina. So in the bottom left corner you can see that there's 2 bars. Now the big white bar is your main stamina, so your little bar at the top will only go to the limit of that big bar. So for example, let's just have a sleep now so that you can see what I'm talking about. So that now increases. There you go, you can see them both increasing. So we're going to wake up now. I'd like to turn that out, but never mind. So if we then run, you can see I'm sprinting now. You can see that little bar is decreasing. Now this is also sort of like if you're chopping down a tree, or I just broke the axe. Oh well.
You're kidding me.
If you're chopping down the tree or whatever else, that will deplete the top stamina bar, but then that will refill to your maximum stamina, which is the lower bar. It's the only way I can describe it really. But so that's just an extra little thing I suppose they've got for mechanics. So moving on to pick up and play. Now I have just picked up and played this for this hour, for this review. You see the little magnifying glass down here, which is why I'm doing the inspecting. There goes the leech. Blood sucking buggers. Now the magnifying glass is gone, I know that I can stop. So pick up and play. If you've played it before, then yeah, sure. The learning curve is pretty intense. Now it's not as bad if you do the campaign first. So the campaign does sort of like take you through some basic tutorial, which isn't going to teach you everything, but it will teach you enough to sort of like last longer than if you were just going straight into the survival mode. But if you do go straight into the survival mode, there isn't anything. You have to sort of like rely on your knowledge of survival crafting games probably, or maybe even just knowledge, to sort of like get you through surviving in this. It is pretty tough. It can be pretty tough if you're not necessarily looking or doing the right things. Like, I desperately need to increase the amount of coconut shells or water containers I can get, just because I'm in a constant state of like thirst, which is lowering my health all of the time. So it can be quite tough. Pick up and play is definitely there, because I've been able to do it. You know, I've been able to just come back to this, and most of the things that I've learned is still sort of like still valid, so sort of like all your crafting and stuff. if you're brand new coming into this, do the campaign first, and then you'll be fine. And it's all pretty intuitive. You know, E is your main pickup button. F is sort of like, you know, how knackered are you? You know, and then everything's just sort of like basis off of the crafting. I think it's all sort of like quite intuitive. So, replayability. Now, this game has lots of replayability. They've released a full campaign mode. You've got the full campaign. You've got a survival mode. You've got a mode which is sort of like challenges that you know you have to get to a certain point in a certain time. You've also got an online, you know, co-op survival mode. They're looking at bringing out an online co-op story mode. There's achievements coming in the roadmap. You know, there's just so much, and Creepy Joe are just constantly pushing content out for this, and it's just fantastic that they are. And I love that they are. It's a fantastic game. There's so much that you can do in it now that there's just so much replayability for this is unreal. From my understanding, if you've been playing this a lot and you know you've sort of like learnt the map, you have an advantage because I think it's just one big map. So if you do sort of like start to learn where you are, you know, because you will do, because for instance I know that I've got a base in this general direction, especially if I was using the compass a bit better. You know, I know that there's a base over here, so I'm going to start to recognize, you know, well, this big tree on this hill is next to that big tree, and you know, in the middle of the two there's this like palm leaf fond thing. You know, in which case I'm looking out for certain landmarks. You know, I'm looking out for three or four big rocks, and then I'm looking out for the cliff. Oh, well, there's, get out of it. You know, I'm looking out for these. I'm looking out for all of these different things. It's clever. It is very good. I very much enjoy. You know, sorry, I'm labouring the point on the map. There's only one map, so once you've learnt the map, it kind of loses that replayability. I'd like to see maybe some more map variants coming out in the future, because once you've sort of like got a good handle on the map, then it's not, you know, it's much easier to just deal with, and you know it's the challenge is gone. As if that happened. Are you for real? That dry leaf is just defending this snake. So, dodge this. There you go. So there you have it. And yeah, the only other category that I have is, will I play it after the first hour? Yes. I'm likely going to be producing some more content and videos on this. So if that's something that you wanna see, then make sure to comment below, make sure to subscribe and hit that bell notification and like this video. If you're familiar with the channel, I do survival crafting games, I do hints and tips and videos and reviews and stuff like that, so do make sure to come and swing by again. Thank you all very much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you survivors in the next video.